Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Comfort Zone. Today, I'm joined by Heather Richardson, Manager of Customer Care. How are you doing, Heather?
I'm good, Ross. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So I invited you to join us today to kind of demystify and pull back the Wizard of Oz curtains on what goes on in our customer care department. A caller, someone has a problem in the field or a need to call in. Walk me through how system accepts the phone call, maybe what occurs, and then who might handle it.
Okay, sure. So anytime a customer calls in, they make their own selections through our phone system. They identify themselves as a contractor or a distributor, and then from there, they have some options to really help drive their request to someone that is skilled to potentially handle it for them.
All right, when you say skilled, what is that?
Skilled. So the beauty of our systems that they allow us to drive specific types of calls to individuals. And granted, even though we have folks who have been in HVAC for a long time, we may have some that are a little newer to HVAC. So that allows us to skill their calls according to their knowledge base and hopefully provide a better customer experience.
Gotcha. Let me ask another question in regard to calling in and wanting to, I guess, as a contractor, get an answer as quickly as possible about the issue that I'm facing. What should I have on hand to be prepared to give to customer care when my call is answered?
Yeah, so a big part of their process is really verifying who they're speaking with. We do not share all types of information with our customers. So keep in mind, we also speak with homeowners as well. So we really want to make sure we're verifying that we are speaking with an HVAC contractor. The beauty of our system is if you've called in before, we've already captured that. So that information should populate for them. Hopefully they're greeting you. Hi, Ross. I see you're calling from Mitsubishi Electric Train today. How can we help you? And that allows them to really kind of jump right in to hopefully resolve your issue.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's say I'm a contractor. I'm in the field. I'm at a residential call. And like during the summer, there's a lot of it's not cooling correctly. I've done my investigation indoors, outdoors. I speculate it might be something with an outdoor unit board, and I call into customer care. Walk me through what might go on from that inbound call to a resolution.
Sure. So a big part of our process is to really understand the type of equipment that you're working with. That's essentially going to help them determine the best business process, right? They're going to create what we call a service case. And if your system has a potential error code that's within their line of sight, they would help you resolve that. And let's say if you have a piece of city multi-equipment, they would follow the next process, which would be to get as much information as they can and get you to our level 2 tech support team so they can get started.
Level 2 tech support, what's the difference between them and customer care?
Great question. So I would say the easiest way to explain that in customer care, we are the jack of all trades, master of all. Okay. And our TSAs, they're more specialized. So these individuals come from the field. They were prior HVAC contractors and or went to school for HVAC. So they handle a lot more issues related to refrigerant issues and more complex things.
Okay. Is there a particular time of day that's better to call?
Well, I would say it probably depends on the time of year that you're calling, but essentially in the beginning of our day, between 8 and 10 is always a good time to call in. And our West Coasters, they're usually waking up, right? So as the day goes on, we do tend to get a little bit busier.
What is a busy day? How many hundreds or thousand calls do you say would take place?
I would say through a lot of our continuous improvement practices, we have been able to handle a minimum of 1,000 calls per day.
A minimum?
Without causing an extensive wait time for our customers. So we're really proud of that. Now that does look a little different if we do have to escalate your call. But I would say a busy day would probably be somewhere over 1,400 calls. That really kind of puts us in a pickle. Yeah.
So 1,400 calls in a day. I'm answering calls. What kind of tools do I have at my disposal to answer calls in a very proficient and a timely manner?
Yeah, so a lot of our work is really done out of the service manuals. In addition to that, we're leveraging installation manuals. And for some kind of like quick reference items, we'll use our submittals often to answer, very simple like specification questions, things like that. So I did mention our improvements, and something that we're really excited about is we're working on a generative AI project.
Really?
Yeah, there is an amazing cross-functional team here at METUS that I have the pleasure of working with. And we are working on a phase 1 of implementing AI internally for our support teams so that we can help serve customers better, faster, and more consistently.
Now we're talking artificial intelligence as a program, or it's going to be a voice in a robotic fashion?
Essentially, we're going to leverage it as a tool internally first. We really want to be able to perfect the information on our systems, on our processes, so that further down the line, we can expose that to our customers and offer them more self-service.
That's excellent. That's fantastic to learn that we're improving and incrementally getting better to service the customers that call, and 1,400 calls in a day. That's stressful. So I can only imagine with that stress or trying to make it through that 8 or 9 hour shift, what do you do to decompress, to get rid of stress in your day?
Well, I don't mind telling you, the stress is really not on me. It is on our team. And so we really try to incorporate mindfulness activities. So a few days a week, we have team huddles. And that gives the team an opportunity to kind of voice. Like
call a play and send out the receiver to the right, and running back's going to come out in the flat.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily go into a football formation, but it's important that as a team, we connect in other areas and not just kind of like with our heads down, continuing the robotic moves. But, mindfulness activities are important. As a team, we'll do some team building stuff.
Can you give some examples of what goes on in team building events?
Yeah, sure. So I'll share an example from last year. We partnered with a charity and we did some paintings as a team. And then we donated them to a particular children's hospital.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Here in the area where one of our team members actually had a child go through their facility. And so it was really nice.
All right.
Yeah.
So handling a large volume of calls, working with customer care, and it's peak season. When you leave work, what do you hit play on in the car?
Well, I don't want to say it depends. I don't know that peak season would necessarily determine what I listen to, but this Atlanta traffic will, however. And it's very gangster, Ross. It's very gangster.
Well, what comes first to mind?
Okay, so my first pick would probably be Outkast. So I'm from Atlanta, and I don't mind sharing that my first concert that I was not allowed to go to was to go see Outkast. They were just like up and coming. And some friends at school were like, yes, we're going to the Tabernacle. And I'm like, oh, church, like, let's go.
So this was Big Boy and Andre 3000?
Yes, absolutely. And so I ended up at an Outkast concert, and I fell in love ever since.
Excellent. That sounds like something perfect to listen to while driving on 285.
Yeah, it's very necessary on 285.
All right. Is it the same Outkast in the morning as it is when you're going home at the end of the day?
No, I would say the morning is more of like Bombs Over Baghdad. And I would say, the afternoons, it may be, a little bit more fun.
So there's no Whitney Houston at all, nothing uplifting. It's
Yeah, it's
Atlanta rap.
Yeah, it's giving bombs over Baghdad. You know, just kind of sets the mood for the day.
Oh, it definitely gets you ready to come in and buckle down and help contractors
and,
call
and
in.
tackle all of those calls, handle all those customer issues.
I can imagine playing that, leaving a meeting when you're tasked with more things to do, but certainly
Yeah.
I can appreciate listening to it on the way in.
Yeah.
So we like to ask some questions here in the comfort zone, and I'd like to know, what's your comfort zone?
My comfort zone, I would probably say outside of HVAC, which is pretty much everything that I do, I would say being a mom.
Well, most people answer like somewhere in the neighborhood of 72 to 68 degrees is their comfort zone. But all right, you mentioned being a mom. How many kids do you have?
I have 3 amazing kids.
All 3 equally amazing?
They're all 3 equally amazing. One son, he's my one and only son. I don't want to say he's more special than the other 2, but he's
You can tell me
the one. Okay. There's only one of him. And then I have 2 daughters who are just awesome. It's like 2 mini me's, which is so fun. But yeah, my son is pretty special.
That's excellent.
Yep.
Does he play any sports?
He does. So I am an official soccer mom.
Really?
Yeah, I never thought I would say that.
You're missing your Yeti cup.
I'm missing my Stanley, the Yeti. I don't have a minivan yet, so don't have any plans to move towards
Juice
that.
boxes, orange slices.
But yeah, I really enjoy watching him play soccer, and I've learned so much over the years.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, one last question for you. What's for dinner tonight?
I don't know. DoorDash, maybe?
Really?
Yeah. It might be a DoorDash night.
What kind?
I
Mexican,
always-
Italian,
I always leave
Chinese?
it up to my children, and then they argue, and then we'll figure it out.
Well, that's what it is to be a parent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Heather, thank you for joining me on this
you.
episode of The Comfort Zone. We look forward to seeing you again next time.